All right. Well, he's still going strong, but so are you. Speaking of going strong, did you ever imagine you'd be doing this at this point, playing old songs, new songs?
ABC started way back when. I'm not even going to tell you what year we started, 1982, in the early 80s. But you know, back then you kind of had 15 minutes, and today you get 15 milliseconds. So, you know, in 2008 to be standing on a stage and singing "Be Near Me" or "When Smokey Sings" it's a great privilege. Yeah. So I guess I've served my apprenticeship. Yeah.
You had a long run. Was there a period when you thought that was it? It wasn't gonna.
Yeah, with the band, we evolved really. We started with Poison Hour and The Look of Love, and we kind of went through When Smokey Sings, Be Near Me. We made a lot of records for the club scene as well. So after about 10 years, yeah, I climbed out the other side. You know, anyone in music knows the score. It's like kind of being in a hall of mirrors. You're obsessed with what you do all the time. And you know, the whole music scene had changed, so it was definitely time to do something else. And my wife Julie had twins, Nancy and Louis, so they're teenagers today. But it was good. It was good actually to go from you know, Shoom and the Hacienda or the hippest club in every European city, every American city, to kind of assembling flat pack furniture. You know, I think it's a dad thing. It was good to do that for a few years. But funnily enough, after a few years, I was just driving along and I could hear "Tainted Love" by Soft Cell on the radio, and Depeche Mode and the Human League, and I'd hear "The Look of Love" by ABC, and I kind of figured there was an audience out there again of younger people who'd watched all those crazy, highly entertaining, insane pop videos from the 1980s. They'd seen them on TV and they were kind of interested in the bands again. So, and also there was a whole generation of people who maybe, you know, got married to The Look of Love and divorced to When Smokey Sings, and were kind of interested in going out and having a great time and forgetting about, you know, they wanted to remember a time of big shoulder pads and big tunes and big kind of choruses, and forget about the present day. Yeah. So I guess I've had many careers.
And how much did you miss putting on the suit and getting out there and being the guy?
I mean, I've always loved music. Writing songs is therapeutic, you know, it keeps you... I mean, the funny thing is, being on stage, I always think you can do anything, basically. And if you did the same thing walking down the street, a policeman would arrest you, you know. It is a kind of liberating experience, even all these years on. But no, it's been fantastic to kind of come back to music. And I really, I love performing, attack it with relish, you know. And it's about the audiences, and our audiences have been phenomenal recently, yeah.
Talk about how your audiences have changed. I'm sure you're fans, but I'm sure you're getting kids out there too. So what's it like when you're looking out in the crowd?
You used to see a couple of kids who'd reluctantly been dragged along by their parents for a musical education, you know, ABC shows. So I've definitely, you know, the years have been kind. We've moved forwards. It's 2008, and sometimes people come and they throw knickers and bras at the stage. So I'm definitely evolving, moving into Tom Jones territory. I think Neil Diamond territory. So, but the audiences are. I'm joking aside. The audiences are phenomenal. You know, the response is great. I don't know why that is. You're only as good as the songs you ever wrote. You know. Yeah. But it's nice to pepper the set with kind of songs from the present day. After performing live all around the world, I realised there was an audience for us, so I started writing some new songs for an album called Traffic, which is out today. But I guess, there's Traffic.
What's it like to be sitting with a new ABC album in your hands after everything you guys have been through?
These days you kind of tour and, you know, putting out a brand new piece of music is secondary, but unlike the 80s where you'd have the album out and off you went. It feels good. It feels good to play the very first time, and Traffic alongside, you know, When Smokey Sings and Be Near Me.
So your kind of place in pop history. I've written some of these songs along with the new, which we'll talk a little more about, but some of these songs that are going to live on forever. How much of that, when you're out there playing for the crowd, is it a nightly reminder of how you touched so many people? That kind of thing cross your mind when you're singing them?
Yeah, I mean, the first rush of success, you never realise that. You don't really know if you know people like your music, but you don't really feel it unless you're standing on a stage looking out. And you know, I can look out into a crowd tonight and they will know all the words. They know, it's when they know verse 2 and verse 3 and verse 4, you know, it's not the whole song. So if anything, that catalyses me and my contemporaries into performing even better. There's no hiding place. You can't forget the words because they all know the words, you know. But I don't know, I look at older performers, like, you know, the Rolling Stones and Neil Young and David Bowie, Neil Diamond, people like that, and you know, they're giving a lot of pleasure to an audience. So my contemporaries are obviously the Human League, Belinda Carlisle, you know, bands like that. So it's interesting performing with them.
Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about this tour specifically, what this has been like so far. You guys just started recently, but just talk about the fun you guys are having on the road and what people are expecting on this.
We're on a tour called the Regeneration Tour, although I think it's kind of the Degeneration Tour for some, but mainly it's Regeneration. It's called, it's cool because it's like ABC, The Human League, Belinda Carlisle, Naked Eyes, sometimes Flock of Seagulls, a whole bunch of acts. It's like climbing inside a human jukebox, really. Yeah, you get a chance to showcase your songs. We did a show at the Hollywood Bowl a while back, and there was about 15,000 babysitters in operation that night. So, if anything else, we're getting work for the babysitters, so the mums and dads can come down to the shows.
But you say that, but it's obviously not all about nostalgia because you have the new music. How important is it for you to do the new stuff?
Well, no, I'm not. Nostalgia is a potent thing. The funny thing is today, a lot of artists from the 80s have a very strong sense of strong fame through YouTube. If you're in the 70s, there wasn't anyone following you around with a camera all the time, and the 60s too. But the 80s was heavily documented, so obviously, you're out there. Mm-hmm. People kind of know your face from the clips and the videos.
How often do you go back and look at those old videos?
I rarely look at them, but my daughter Nancy sometimes makes me. Yeah, I sometimes think, well, back then in the early 80s, with the Duran Durans and the Spandau Ballets and the Cyndi Laupers of this world. I mean, I did stuff. I mean, I'm performing The Look of Love with a parrot on my shoulder and a candy striped blazer and a straw bow tie, and I kind of thought, I don't think Kurt Cobain would have ever done that. Maybe he would have really liked to have done it, but maybe, So what I'm trying to say is they were highly, some of those videos are really stupid, but highly entertaining. It was kind of the early days of MTV and clips and stuff.
At the height of that, how much fun were you having?
A lot of fun, yeah. You know what? If anyone that is out there thinking about forming a band, I'd say do it. Yeah. You do it. The food's good. The air miles are good, and the sound of the crowd's great.
How much do you like the image people have seen of you in the videos and on stage, and Mr. Suave and cool? And
it's a funny thing, yeah, from the photographs in the past. People do have that impression, especially in America. They think you're kind of a cool European dandy of the underworld or something. But it's great performing. You can't be sweating in front of a crowd. There's no hiding. Like I say, there's no hiding place. The crowd's there. There's nowhere to prance and kind of reflect upon pop music. It's the real deal. Yeah, you learn that. You learn as a performer. I don't know. I never really know what people think of me. Yeah.
Writing the new songs, that difficult process for you? Is it fun? Did these things just flow out, or is this a difficult process for you?
I'd written about 120 songs within ABC, and I thought, does anybody really want to hear 120 more? You have to have a good reason to write a new song. So I left it for a couple of years, and then I hooked up with a guy called David Palmer, who was in ABC way back, and a guy called Chuck Kentis. And the three of us together just started kicking some songs around. David lived in Pacific Palisades, and I live in London, so I'd come over and we just cut songs. And it just felt fantastic. It felt like the very first time, starting out brand new, fresh again. So over a period of time, whenever I was passing through, we'd always write songs. And looking back now with Traffic, the new album, I realise a lot of it's about today, about how fast everything is today, about how you can, stroll down the street with a Frappuccino and a BlackBerry and another cell phone, and there's a million and one different things happening constantly. So life's fast now. Yeah. It's kind of post-credit crunch kind of record. It's about how you have fun today in 2008.
How fast is your life now? How much of this you can keep doing?
I'm very fortunate. It's a privilege to stand on a stage and perform The Look of Love, yeah. So whilst there's people out there cheering and stomping their feet and clapping their hands, I'll be doing it, yeah.
Obviously look good, you're in good shape. Is you doing this non-stop for the next bunch of years? Or are you still writing new music even beyond that?
Yeah, we're just putting some new songs together. But as you kind of evolve, I've got the band, we're doing this tour, but I've been performing with an orchestra doing the Lexicon of Love, our first album, and we tried that out in Canada, so it worked really well. So that's something we'll do again. So, I don't know. Back then, I figured I'd be good for like 1.5 pop videos. So, all these years on, it feels good to have a body of work and to be out there performing.
What kind of conversations have you been able to have with Belinda, with Phil about the old days? Is any of that taking place so far on the road?
Yeah, because the Human League are from Sheffield in the north of England, and that's where ABC started. Funny thing, and with Belinda, I've crossed paths with Belinda many times, yeah. it's funny because back in the 1980s, everybody wanted to be number one, and there's only one number one spot. So I guess it's true of any era. Everybody was very competitive. But these days, I've got nothing but respect for the other acts. Yeah, you know, there's still an element of competition going on,
Mm-hmm.
but they're fantastic. You know, I think we all showcase each other's skills. But the conversation is usually about today, really. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Sometimes you get the occasional flashback to
Yeah.
to some gold lame moment, you know.
Mhm.
But generally, it's about today.
Who else would you love to share the stage with today? Any other contemporary of yours that you've been trying to recruit to play with you, to open for you, to do something else with you? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of contemporary music. It just seeps into your life, doesn't it? Bands like Goldfrapp. Yeah, I'd like to Flight of the Conchords. They're the band I like. Yeah, I'd love to tour the world with those guys.
What kind of stuff do you hear from bands today in England or here? What do they tell you when they meet you? Because I'm sure a lot of fans are successful now in their own right. And
Yeah, that's the really weird thing. You kind of struggle around to find your own style when you first start out. Write a few tunes and they hit the charts. And then there's a period where people are looking at you going, what, you're still here? But if you stick around long enough, people go, you're an elder statesman of pop, bro. You know, you're like there are a lot of younger bands come through and they do name check. Some name check ABC. So yeah, that's a kind of good feeling in a way. They're the kind of sons and daughters of a sound you kind of got involved in. Just as, you know, I was into Bowie and Roxy, you know. When I look at bands like the Killers and, you know, there's a theatrical sense of what they do. And we're all kind of mining the same field, really.
Mm-hmm. Wearing that hat of the elder statesman, is that something you...
Shouldn't have said that, should I?
Do you think about it? Do you take on that responsibility, or do you laugh it off?
No, but I never undervalue every moment. Yeah, getting up there and doing it. No, because you sit down, you write a song, you got a blank sheet of paper, and you know, there's just open space, and you have to fill it with something. So that never changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doesn't matter how many years have passed. That songwriting thing's always still there. You got to, you know, I don't know. No, I never feel like that. I only say it in interviews. Really, I'm not really.
No.
Maybe in I'll be ready for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you know, in 30 years or something. Yeah.
We'll come back and talk to you then.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.